Welcome to everyone who's just joined our call. I see there's a few more people that I'm just admitting. In just a moment, we're going to have Christina, our host, and Louis join us here in the room. So very excited. Welcome, everyone. There's Christina. Welcome, Christina, my beautiful friend and co-host. And I know we've got Louis waiting in the wings. So welcome to everyone who's joining us today.
Thank you, Vivienne.
Good morning, everybody. Vivienne and I are so excited to be offering this amazing talk with Louis CHAPA. I am a little bit excited because he's, just this amazing soul that's really touched our hearts. And I believe that it's going to be an amazing hour. And thank you all for being here with us. And I guess we'll get started. And there you are.
Hi.
Welcome from London.
Good morning, good afternoon to everyone in Europe, but good morning here or there.
Yes, we have this community here. Mindvalley members are so excited to have you here with us. And thank you very much for gracing us. And I would like to welcome you formally into the space and just see how you're doing over there in London. How is everything today on this beautiful spring day?
Well, it has been a beautiful day. It was supposed to be cold, but the sun came out and it was a fantastic day to go for a walk and refresh. Lockdown will ease up tomorrow, apparently, so things are looking up. So we're very happy, very happy. Many smiley people here.
Fabulous. I'm super honored that we have met. And just to let everybody know, Louis has actually got a Mindvalley journey as well. And he may know some of you because he does go onto the platform and onto the quest. And so you may be surprised if he pops up here and there. And he's also part of some of our chats. So he is not a stranger to Mindvalley at all. And in fact, it's a part of his life. And so we're very honored that he's here with us today. And so I would just like to start by asking you, you've got this amazing story, a raring voice of a king and a lion. But of course, you've got this journey that's so incredibly inspiring. And I would like to ask you, first of all, about this amazing place that you landed at on the stages of New York at the Metropolitan Opera. We can start with that and tell us what your experience was by being on Madame Butterfly.
Madame Butterfly is an opera that has opened me many doors. It's one of my favorite ones, although it's one of the most intriguing and awful characters that I have ever done. So I do the villain there. And having said that, it kind of took me to the Metropolitan, which is an amazing house. There is not much to say there other that is one of the best houses on the world. And I was very honored that they chose me to be there. And I had a great time. But as we talk, that time, it was amazing, but more interesting, it was the journey to get there. That was to me the greatest time. All the little choices and decisions and everything that I had to do to get there. Once there, is like driving a Rolls Royce. It drives itself. So you have a lot of people to help you and do that. And you cannot help but to do well. I mean, you have to do well anyway. But I think the most important thing is the fortitude that you get through the journey of getting there. Not only me, anyone, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. And we can't wait to hear this amazing story. Mm-hmm. And until we get to the rest of your journey, I would like to invite you to do perhaps a meditation with us that you are very, very good at healing the chakras and how you ignite this amazing voice. So just wanting to inform everyone that we're going to go into a meditation that Louis is going to lead for us. And whenever you're ready, this is
I am. Thank you. Thank you. I am honored you asked me that, and I am honored to lead you all to this. Is a beautiful meditation. It's a chakra clearing, and involves a bit of chanting, a bit of coming out of yourselves, and a bit of awareness also. So I normally do this with my students on the fly, and we get together and allowed the flow to come and design it. Now, if you allow me, please, I want you to show your hands to the screen, to your other people. And I want you to choose one person on the screen and see their hands. And see the little crest on their hands, on their palms. And feel how your hands are sending a message to those other hands. And they are receiving a message, and also they are sending it. That's a circuit of communication also that is coming to us, and we send it. And that's how we get into communication in a tribe, in a beautiful way. Suddenly we will arrive to a beautiful open place with all our friends of this beautiful tribe are. And we just sit and we prepare to meditate. I will invite you all and think of them.
Blessings, blessings. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, phew,
Yeah.
amazing. Now, I know that you now teach this to your students, and you emanate this beautiful energy of presence and resonance. And that's in fact what we would love to hear from you today, is how you started in your beginnings when you lived in your small town in Mexico, and taking you onto the world stage. And perhaps we can start with, I know that you've got quite a story, and from what I
Yes.
know of you is that you were in a small town in Mexico in a steel manufacturing area, and you have a beautiful story about your family, and also that your mom said that you began to sing before you could speak. So perhaps you can tell us a little bit about your background and what that was like for you.
Well, to start with, I think all mothers have a story like that about their children. Has to be taken with a pinch of salt. But she told me that, yes, that I used to sing and vocalize, but it is more about the joy of doing it. That's something that I did since I was a child. It was, to me, the easiest thing. It was to pick up a guitar and start singing and spend a lot of time in solitude, just making up, not songs, just music and singing. And I will walk on the street and sing, or I will sing myself to sleep. As I told you, it's very interesting that my daughter does that too now. So it's really, it doesn't signify that you become a singer or she will become a singer, but I think singing and expressing yourself in song or in chants is a beautiful thing, because it involves an openness and a flow inside of you that that is difficult to achieve with a preconceived script, because sadly, how the world is, sometimes you have to think a lot about what you want or need to say, and by then there are like 1,000 barriers. But when you sing, it just comes out, and it's your whole vibrating self.
Yes,
which I think is amazing.
Yes, it is, and you're amazing. And what really I find is incredible is that you shared with me that in your humble beginnings, you had a condition that you shared actually on the video that I shared on the community, and also about the 5 schools that you were at.
Okay,
And so
now we
perhaps you
start.
can tell us a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, I guess it's not a secret. I'm quite heavily dyslexic. With me comes in the form of reading. It takes me a lot. I have to take a long time to read something, and words come the wrong way around, and they write the wrong way. Well, it is what it is, and I learned to live with that. And one of the things where I grew up, and the time that I grew up, the word bullying didn't exist. So you either survive or don't survive. And I was determined not to take any any bad advice, so I don't swear, to take anything from anyone. So I always made my own way to do things. I did well academically, but I did well because I find my way to do well. So I was always spending long times trying to understand what the teacher will try to say. And that created a lot of solitude. And also make me focus a lot in my, I kind of don't know how to say that in English, the things that you do outside the school, which is sports, arts, and all that. So at that time I played basketball. I played basketball for my hometown and for my state, and I made it to the national team. And I was quite young, and a car run me over and blew my knee off, finishing my career as a basketball player. And what happened that day, I was a teenager then, and overnight I started drinking and I started doing everything that you do when you don't have a cause. And also I had a terrible attitude problem that now when I discover why it was, now I understand. But back then it was just a resistance and a rebellion to authority. So I was expelled of most of the high schools that I was. I did finish. I finished in 5 high schools. I have a lot of anecdotes about that, but I won't go into that because it's a bad example. But I did finish. I went into university. I enrolled in civil engineering. Again, finding my way to do things. And with that solitude that the dyslexia gave me, I was concentrating in several things at the same time. One of them it was my singing. So I sang for my friends. I sang alone. I sang for my girlfriend. I opened up a company. So I had many activities outside my career as an engineer. And towards the end of my career, I just to put something else, I decided to start a master's degree. And that, I think, it proven a little bit too much, having a company, hobbies, girlfriend, and I had a sort of semi-breakdown. So at that time, I decided to close down everything. I closed down the company. Well, it wasn't a confidence the relationship finished. And I decided, well, I'm going to finish my exams, finish the school clean, and go to try to see if this singing thing will work. As a hobby, I entered a few opera choruses in a neighboring city in Mexico. And I started a journey quite natural. I called a few conservatoires to see if they will accept me. And they say no, and I say yes. So I went to study privately in a small city in the middle of Mexico, which didn't go quite well because I was busy trying to find a living. And I mean, to make that story short, that was kind of the decision. Being there in that city in Zacatecas, beautiful town, a great teacher, singer, singer and singing teacher heard me and told me, well, your voice is quite complicated, but I can fix it, only that I will not be teaching in Mexico. I'm going to be teaching in Germany. And I remember at that time, the call was so strong that it took me all of 10 seconds to say, okay, I'll do it, boom. And the next 3 months, I moved heaven and earth to save as much as I could. I managed to save for a one-way ticket to go to Germany and $50 cash. And I went to Germany with all the youth dreams and everything. I didn't even speak German. My English is not good now, so can you imagine? Earlier on, that was bad. So I arrive in Germany and find myself on the street, because obviously the plans that I had, that I kind of built it up, and the coincidences that should happen didn't happen. And yeah, that was tough. That was tough. Yeah.
Yes, I remember you sharing this with me when we first started connecting. And you're the only one that can tell a valley story like this with such a smile on your face. That, I mean, honestly, but it still touches our heart, because
Thank you.
I know what you went through in Mexico. You had so many people that said no, and yet you had this drive within you that said, I'm going to leap and I'm just going to go. And in fact, this is what a lot of us experience in our life, where we've got this calling, we've got this passion in our heart. And so many of us just don't know how to actually activate that and keep moving forward. And for you to get on a plane with $50 in your pocket and just go, and within a few days, your cash ran out. And then you said that you were on the subway, and it was a tough, couple of days. Can you please tell us the depth of your experience and what happened for you to get yourself out of that?
Yeah, well, regressing a little bit into how I took my decisions earlier. Now, in hindsight, is easy to see things how they happen. But before, I surprised myself taking decision that they will say, well, it's just a lucky strike, or you see it that way just because you're not too clever. And I never thought of myself as too clever because of the dyslexia. So I had the benefit of saying, well, I do stupid things because I'm stupid. So that's it. That was my excuse, and took those apparently crazy decisions. Now I understand that it was just a call, because at the bottom, every time I argue with someone, and I remember when I was going to Germany, discussing it with somebody very close to me. I said, Luis, but you have no hope. Your voice is not formed. You have no previous studies of music. You are going to the cradle of this high art. How are you gonna make it? And I said very clearly, I don't know. I'll find a way. But the I don't know, it was like a very deep cry from inside of, just do it. Just go ahead and it will sort itself out. At that time, I thought, I'm just not clever enough to understand why. But now I know that I am intelligent enough to follow that without understanding why. And that format of how I took that decision and many other has followed me through my life. Once I start seeing coincidences and I start putting the names, I realize that, okay, it's this. So it may not look rationally correct, but if I feel that pull, is because it's gonna go on that way. And we will talk a bit later, but I have taken many, many risky decisions throughout my career that at the end, something happened and they turned out to be the best decisions. Now, going back to that time in the subway, I arrived in Germany with a few connections, apparently. A few connections. And I thought that at least I had like 5 options, at least one of them will sort itself out, so come to my rescue. And it turns out that none of them happened. And what happened is that by the second day that I was there, I realized that nobody will come to help me. The first day, what I did, thinking that things will sort out, I went to a Caritas organization to enroll myself in a German course because I thought I have to learn German. And then everything started going wrong. I went to the first lesson, and the second day, I find myself on the street. So by the third day, by the second night, I was sleeping in a subway, past one night, past the second night. At the third night, I ran out of money. And I remember being sitting down on the subway in Bonn and thinking, that's it. I'm tired, I'm done. I struggled all my life. I know many people struggle more than that, but when you are on your own story, you build up these things. So I thought, that's it. I'm not gonna do anything. I said, God or whoever you are, if this is gonna get sorted, it's up to you because I'm not moving. Yeah, I'm done. And I remember wrapping my bags against my arms so they don't get stolen. And I sit down on a bench and fall asleep. And around 6 a.m, 2 ladies from Bolivia who saw me on the first course, they saw me in there. And they said, Luis, what are you doing here? And I said, no, I'm going to work. And then they saw the crease on the clothes and said, yes, you're going to work with your bags in there. And said, and they told me, said, just come to us and you can stay with us when you sort yourself out. You're going to be able to sleep here from 11 in the evening to 5 in the morning while you find some work and do something. So we can do about a week of this. That day in the morning, I went there, I had a shower, and then I thought, well, okay, what I do, the only thing I can do that doesn't require speaking is singing. So I thought I will go to a church to offer my services as a singer because they employ. So I went to the priest. I spoke to a Catholic church. I spoke to the priest and I said, listen, I'm a singer. I can sing and I just need food and a place to stay. And they said, we cannot give you food, we cannot give you a place to stay, but and we don't need a singer because the congregation sings, but this is a telephone of one person. So the priest gave me this name, and with this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful soul become my brother. He run a salsa group in Bonn and said, Luis, I'm going to lend you this guitar. I'm going to show you a few bars that you can go busking this evening. And I'm going to tell you and introduce you to a few people. And it happened that we need a singer for the group for a few gigs in the next month or so. So that's what happened. I went there that night. I sang in a few bars. I met another person in one of those bars, accommodation available. And to make the story short, after 1 month, I had sorted out my accommodation. I had a steady income, and I find my first proper singing teacher, because the singing teacher I went to work with, it didn't work out. So it's quite a story. Give me.
Thank you, Luis. That's amazing. I know it's like the universe just aligns when we have this very pure intention, and you certainly had that, especially starting your singing at such a late age, at the age of 21, and everyone saying no, 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 and you said yes, and you get on a plane and here you are.
25,
Oh, 25,
starting at
right,
25.
25.
Yeah.
25, there we go. And so you met your amazing teacher in Germany, and one thing led to the next, and something happened that brought you then to where you are now in London and meeting your beautiful wife. So
yeah, the universe has been like treat me like something that you can put from here to there and to there, and every time I make a plan, I said no, I know better, and put me there. No, what happened, I studied with this amazing teacher in Germany. And sadly, after 6 months, he had a fulminant heart attack and he passed away. So I find myself again teacherless in the middle of Germany. And although I was making a living, I didn't make enough living to pay me my return ticket, nor I wanted to come back. I was quite stubborn about finishing this now because I saw that it was difficult. My teacher studied with a teacher in Italy whose daughter was teaching in London. I contacted her and she agreed to hear me. I came to London and she heard me and I said, okay, I can take you as a student. So again, I moved myself to London. And what happened is after I arrived in March, I think it was March, I started getting again newspapers and see how I can earn a living and do things. Obviously, how to be legal. That has been very important for me also. How to be legal in the country without having to come back in and out and everything. And after about a month after being there, I find an announcement on a newspaper of one amateur group here in London that needed a tenor for the productions. But that amateur group, what happened is that the choristers pay their fees and they get young professionals just out of school for training that pay a smaller fee. And I went there and I said, listen, I will do you the great favor to sing for you for free and you give me studies so I can be student here. And they said, no, we will accept you here, you will pay and we will make a student. I said, okay, I take it. So I started singing with this opera group. Every weekend we will do an opera. And during the week, I will work in whatever job I find, any job from gardening to cleaning to bars, bartending, parking cars, whatever came my way, just to sing on the weekends. One of the things that I did around that time also is I did a summer course in which I met the person that is now my wife. That was 21 years ago, and we're still married. That was a beautiful thing. And again, we went out once, and we decided to become a couple straight after that, and we continue. After 3 or 4 months of singing in this group, one scout from the Royal College of Music, Royal Northern College of Music, heard me and said, well, we like you, but you need training. And we can offer you a place in this opera studio, which I didn't know at the time. It was a great privilege because they will get the best people of Europe coming there. And they were offering me this to me, who had just the training of a couple of private singing teachers and not much else. So again, I went there with my big face and I said, I will do you the honor to come and study in your institution, but you have to pay. And because the fees were quite stratospheric. And they smiled and they said, okay, it's a bit longer than that, but that's how it happened. They offered me a very good scholarship and I sang for them 2 operas, I studied for them 2 years. And life developed after that. I moved to Manchester. I didn't want to be away from my wife, from Marie. We got engaged there and then, and we married a year later. So there we are. I went to the college.
That's an amazing story. Yes. And I mean, to say, I want to be here and you have to give me a scholarship and then it happens for you is absolutely incredible. And of course, Marie is also part of your industry for the opera. And then after that, something happened, right? And you went back to Germany.
Yeah. It's again part of those decisions. You know, the best decisions of my life, I always talk them in 10 seconds. It took me 10 seconds to marry my beautiful wife and to leave Mexico and everything. One of them, after that, after I graduated from the college, I did have a few engagements, not enough to make a living. But then gradually, I enrolled myself in a singing competition, which is also a big story. We will dig into that some other time, but that was a nice thing. I got to the final of this competition. I didn't win it, but that entitled me, no. That put me in contact with some of the biggest companies in the UK. And one of them especially offered me a cover part. And being a cover means you're sitting on a bench watching the principal singer do the job, and you are there taking notes. You don't take, it's not much chance of training. And what I needed, it was experience, because I've been always kind of late to the party, whereas most of my colleagues have been training for 15 years. I have been training for 1 or 2 years tops. So I did the covers. They went very well. The company loved me. They offered me another set of covers. And then I decided that no, what I needed was to do it. And I said no to this company. And again, everybody in the industry thought that I was crazy, that this company will never employ me. And it's a fact. They have never employed me again. But I said I want to go to Germany, to a small company, to train myself, where fame is not required, where I can just be myself. It will be the equivalent of going into a third division football league after being in the first division on the bench. So I went there, and it has been fascinating, very steady journey up, but it was very gratifying. I made very, very good friends in those companies. I have never lacked work. I have enjoyed my work. It allowed me all the expression. And it took a little bit longer, but it took me to the Metropolitan. So, so I was right at the end, or the universe was right at the end.
Yes. And of course, you have now graced the stage of Madame Butterfly and have been invited to very many special events and causes for humanity, which I think is amazing. And one of the videos that you shared with us was this this production that you did in Puerto Rico, I believe, right? And
yeah.
so
no, that video, it was in New York, but it was during the hurricane in Puerto Rico. So a friend of mine put it together, and I agreed to help and to go and sing for them. And it was a great thing, because they raised a lot of very needed money at the time. Yeah, and I do a lot of that. I always feel like it's important to give back. That is not funny enough. I insure myself. I insure my income by not looking after the income. It's sort of by doing those things, somehow it comes from some other way, or I get a higher fee in another contract.
yes,
So it's yeah.
So but one thing that I also know about you is your power is also paired with this beautiful humility that you have. And I know that through your journey, you also have the business side of things, where you were dealing with agencies and one thing after the next took place. And perhaps share with us a little bit about how we live this human condition and some of the practicalities in life that come our way, and staying our ground in who we are, and in spirituality and humility, while of course still speaking our voice to move our careers forward.
This is a beautiful thing, and I do give advice to young singers into how to follow the career. Now my path looks more doable than what it was before, because now you have the internet and you have access to information that were not given before, meaning names of companies and names of everything. But what I have found on my career is we can speak a lot about it, but it comes down to an instinct or a choice. And when I speak to young singers or young actors, it's always the same point. You always have a choice, and in every, you go through a door or you go through a door, or you breathe or you don't breathe, or you move or you don't move. Even if you don't move, that's a positive choice. So the important thing is to know that you are taking a choice. Is the metaphor is like we are flying. You are flying even if you want it or not. The fact that we are alive, we are flying. How you fly is your choices, and how you extend your wings, and how you decide to move at a given moment. It's easier to speak with examples. For example, I was about 5 years ago with one of the biggest agencies on the planet, operatic agencies, and my agent, I cannot name names. My agent at the time was not. We were not getting along very well. However, it was the biggest agency. Just to have my name on the roster implied that many companies would look favorably upon me, and certain fee will be guaranteed. But my relationship wasn't good, and I was feeling that I always call it my anguish, and I have to make a lot of work to distinguish if it's just me being capricious or it's a movement that I have to do. And after meditating a lot, I decided that I needed to make a movement. And against the better judgment of my supposedly betters, I decided to leave. And to make it short, my agent, the person who was agent around the time, ended up with a lot of problem, and then the company disappeared with the period of the COVID. By then, I was me with another agency. So going back to this, that I was fortunately, I never had the vanity of thinking that I knew everything. So I could trust my instinct. Whenever I have to take a decision, a business, important business decision like that, I always think, how does this feel? And if I don't know how it feels, that even that is an answer, because it means that it means that there is no time to move at the moment. But sometimes you feel the pull, and if you go with the pull, even if you rationally think that it will not work, something happened later on. That's one side of it. Another side of it, and in this I try to be stern with it. Once you take a choice, the other choices stop existing. So I try not to contaminate my life, my temporary life, my present, with the possibility of another life. So that I'm here, and I will try to improve what I'm doing here, but at the moment it's the best that it can be, and I'm gonna smile, and I'm gonna do the best that I can, and I'm gonna enjoy it. Because I think just the privilege to being alive makes you a winner, and makes you somebody that has to be grateful for being there, and you can move.
That's so beautiful. Just going back to gratitude and keeping that heart open, and I love what you said about always asking, how does it feel, and either acting or taking a conscious pause, which is actually shared by many spiritual teachers, and what in fact is all that we need to remember. So thank you for that. That's really beautiful, and I can tell just by being in your presence that you are well lived and the life experience. I've always felt that it can either harden us or it can soften us. It can either close our heart or it can open up our heart, and that in fact is what I feel from you. So we feel very blessed that you are here. So thank you for that. I would love to ask, go ahead.
Please, no,
Before
just
I go into my next question.
elaborating a little bit on that just to close. It's very important to mention that we are where we are, and we have to do the best of what we have at any given time. All the advice that I give to my students and my experiences on the stage and everything is not my knowledge. It's mostly recycled knowledge. I read self-improvement books like like I don't know how, and most of the time I don't remember the names of the authors or the faces. That's part of my thing, but the feeling that I get from them, it is very important, and I think that's what is important to transmit when you speak to someone. When you are in a negotiation, when you are in when you are delivering an oratory piece, if you are firmly rooted within yourself, that message will transmit. You can have all the singing lessons, all the voice lessons that you want, but if you are not convinced or fully in the present or embodied enough, that message will not travel. The same principle I apply to take decisions. Once the decision is taken, it doesn't matter if you feel like you lost $10 million to win $1,000. You are with those $1,000. The rest does not belong to reality. And try to make the best living with that. Yeah. And again, as I said, I just wanted to greet all the great masters that I had.
Beautiful. Thank you. And so which brings us to the absolute teaching that you want to share with us today, which is the power of resonance, the power of presence and resonance, and how to find that primal voice. And I know that you had some exercises or something that you'd like to share with us, but perhaps you can just speak about how you came to this amazing topic to share with us today.
Well, okay. My concept of resonance, it comes from my studies of singing, breathing anatomy, and breathing resonance of the voice. That's purely physical, and I won't bore you with the details. But when you are an opera singer, you are using all your natural resonators on your body, and you align yourself in a certain way. So your voice, so your breathing, once is congruent, it makes your vocal folds resonate. And that vibration carries through your backbone, and it makes all your backbone and spine and all the way onto the cranium to start resonate. Now, there is a difference when you have a bell and you bang the bell very strong, it will distort. But if you bang the bell soft, that sound will carry. The same applies to the voice. When you start shouting, you dampen the voice because you use all the muscles of all your laryngeal muscles to trap, because you are disaligning your body because of a certain emotion to try to express something. But when you learn and practice that alignment and that breathing, your body will resonate, and that resonance will travel. And that's the physical side of it. It also happens when you are a musician and when you have a message to give, when that message is fully aligned, when you're a musician and you are convinced of the musical phrase that you're going to give, when you are a poet and you are convinced of that line that you're going to give, when you are with a person and you know exactly what you're going to tell to the other person and the meaning is congruent with your meaning, that will resonance. You will not overpower the person. That resonance will come back to you and create a circuit. That is easier to say with an example. For example, there are moments that I have to sing for 2,000-3,000 people, and suddenly I have to give a very soft note. But that soft note, when I am well aligned, it will travel all the way back to the stage, and I will feel the energy of the people back. I can actually feel when they lose the attention. And if they lose the attention, I know that I have to increase something. But even losing the attention is a way of communication. So that's resonance, that physical principle of resonance. Also, I try to apply it to my private life and to my decision making. If you allow me to tell you a short story, how, I mean, there were many of them, but one of them that made me think a lot about it. It was when my career started taking on in Germany. I was working in a theater, and I was doing a very demanding part for a young singer at the time, because suddenly I wasn't I wasn't the oldest student, I was a young singer now. So I was doing this part, and somehow the conductor did not approve of me, and I was having a lot of problems with the orchestra, not with the orchestra, with him. And politically, it started attacking me because I had a lead part, and you cannot have those two people conflicting with each other. I sorted out. I spoke to the management, and we agree that I say if the opening night is not really, really, really good, you can get rid of me. So that was my trade, and I said, and I give you all your contract back, and you have no obligation. So that opening night came. Around that time, my father passed away, and I had many other problems. So it was everything like a big cloud on top of me, and I had to do that show. And before going in, I remember very clearly, again, I was praying, and I was talking to my father, to my dead father, said, please come and help me, because this is very important for me. And in some moment, something happened to me, and I said, no, let's stop all this rubbish. I'm gonna do it very, very, very well, because this is the option of doing it very well. I'm gonna do it very well, and I'm gonna offer it to you, meaning to my dad, and I'm gonna offer it to the audience. And I remember at that time I took a very deep breathing, and I went into the stage. All that happened 10 seconds, 15 seconds before my first entry. And it was one of the best shows of my life. After that, I had so many contracts coming to me. And I always went back like that. I had many other instances that breathing happened. And then I realized that intake, that deep intake, is a natural reset for your parasympathetic and sympathetic system. There is a whole biological explanation to that. But it's enough to say that just the deep breathing in itself, and the concentration of doing it and feeling your body while you're doing it, resets yourself and puts you back on the present, and you do the task that is in front of you. Again, that other choices, that other possibilities, all the noise disappears, and you just have the task in hand. And it's not that hyper focus that you get when you are overcharged with adrenaline. It's not that. It's more a clarity that you can see the whole horizon, and time slows, and you can work on that. And that's what I mean with resonance. Once it happens, the resonance happens.
That's so very beautiful. Thank you. I was just visualizing you there on stage, and just garnering all that energy and presence to do that. And I'd like to ask a question, because many of us here are on quests on Mindvalley that
Yes.
perhaps speak and inspire, and the teachings of Lisa Nichols, the teachings of vision, and how to be extraordinary.
Oh, wow.
and one of the questions is, what has fear caused me, perhaps, or and showing skin, and putting all these elements together, and actually getting up in front of an audience and focusing on our message, and being there and sharing what we feel in our heart with our voice. And of course, there's a little bit of fear in many of us. who are starting speaking engagements, or perhaps launching online courses, or anything to do with coaching, and just, you know, connecting at the hearts with others. And of course, there's fear with that. And my question to you is, so you're singing opera in front of 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 people, and without a microphone, and you just shared with us a story of the night that your, you know, father passed away, and there has to be emotions. How do you actually focus in on that present moment, but also dealing with the fear and the doubts and that voice in our head, and, you know, specifically?
Well, it is very interesting when I'm coaching a speaker, especially because singers is more scripted. Singers, they have to connect to something more animal, but speaker is intellectual. But when they are aligned, they speak from the heart, and it's difficult to take them out of that. So I recommend to take a training aside of that. And what you do is to rationalize your fears and rationalize what happens. First of all, we all suffer from imposter syndrome. I haven't met a single person, no matter how famous, we all have it. We all think that somebody else do it better and you have no right to do it. So just knowing that allows you or gives you permission to make a mistake. So you train yourself the best that you can, and then you put it aside and do it with your heart. It's easier said than done, but it is, you learn your rhetoric the best that you can. There are always methods for that, but we will not go into that. But there are always steps and ways to break down a speech and how to make a story, how to build it. You do that on the side and make your keys to memorize, and that's your intellectual work. But while you are doing that, put yourself, I call it, in a state of grace when you're doing it, and then just try to bring the state of grace to when you're actually doing it. And little by little, the both will merge. And the fear of applause, the imposter syndrome, the I don't like my voice, all that does not succeed, but you learn to live with them. And I think one of the most important things is to know your value. Know your value, not too much, not too little, just your value, and know that you are doing it for somebody else. You're always doing a service for somebody else. And if you are doing a service, it's okay if you yourself are not perfect. If you are conning someone, then you start getting into trouble. But if you are honest, if your resonance is congruent, you allow yourself to make mistakes, you allow yourself to pause, to rethink, and suddenly you say, oh my God, I've been on a tangent now, let's bring the conversation here, and you bring it back with a smile, and it continues, life goes on. It's more important the feeling than the actual words.
Very beautiful. Absolutely. Oh, I'm feeling you, and I'm learning so much. So thank you so much. This is just amazing. Now, I would, Vivienne and I would love to open up the floor for Q&A, but I also know that you have a short exercise that perhaps that you wanted to share with us, and I welcome you into introducing that into the space, if that is appropriate for you at this time.
Yeah, absolutely. If you allow me 1 minute to set up, and everybody can stand up. It's just a little feeling, embodying, and projecting voice and resonance. Yeah, thank you.
Yes,
Will be
absolutely.
just 1 minute.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone, for being here. This is so particularly special for Vivienne and I, because Luis's teaching actually is so parallel and touches on so many of the quests that are on Mindvalley today. And he's an opera singer, and of course, it came from his life situation to where he got over that into becoming this opera singer on stage at the Metropolitan Opera in New York. And so, and here it is. He's standing. We're ready for you.
Can you hear that?
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, so we're gonna groove. That's good. So, I will ask you all to put your feet on the ground and feel the beat of the music and just wave. Keep registering that vibration and translate it to your hands. Put your hands a little bit in front of you, from inside you, to one corner, and we receive it. And we send it out again. Bring it in, bring it into your heart. I will invite you with that sound to think about that. Every time you have to take a decision, just go back to that feeling and that resonance. I'm gonna come to 5, and I'm gonna invite you to bring that feeling to the table, and we continue our conversation. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. How are we feeling, everyone? I have to apologize because I cannot read the chat that fast. Thumbs up if you're okay. I'm
Absolutely
so happy.
amazing. I really felt that resonance and the voice and the chakras opening, and thank you for this amazing gift.
No, thank you. Thank you.
So
It's all about
I would-
resonance. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And Vivienne and I would love to open up the space for Q&A now for anyone who would like to ask you a question or dialogue with you. So please, everyone, kindly please raise your digital hand or let us know by waving if you'd like to ask Luis any questions. The floor is open. Floor is open. So we're here for you. Okay, don't be shy now. Oh, Vivienne, let's start with Vivienne and then we can go to Tammy next. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Louis. Less of a question, just more of a reflection. I love the
Thank
use
you.
of the word grace, because for me, grace is the embodiment of divinity and or our higher selves. And you're such a shining example of how you allow
Thank
your
you.
higher self, your heart, your intuition, and your light to guide you through your life. So just a very deep word of gratitude from our heart to yours for bringing us this beautiful, beautiful energy and helping us find our primal voice. So thank you.
Thank you. It's an amazing tribe, and I'm so happy that everyone is so open to do these things. It's gratitude and a state of grace is the equivalent of being on the present. And when you do these exercises, you just bring everything, and you can. To me, I think you can function better.
Thank you, Vivienne. And let's have Tammy next. Tammy, thank you. Trying to find you here, Tammy.
I'm right here.
Oh, there you are. There you are.
Tammy, yeah, I see you.
Hello. Louis, I wanted to say thank you so much. I love singing. I've been doing it for many years, and never really saw the connection between the spiritual and the voice. And for me, it's so funny because this morning I had planned on doing a different class, and it turns out it was actually on Saturday, next Saturday, not this Sunday. And I had blocked out this time, and I saw this class, and I was thinking to myself, oh my God, this would be amazing to take. And then I found out I have the time for it. I want to say I love your story. How did you, this is really special to me, and I cried a bunch of times when I listened to your story.
Thank you. I do too, so please do so.
I thought it was really beautiful how you were able to take that leap. And I just want to know, where did you find that strength to pursue your dream?
Well, to me, it was the call was so strong that it was no option not to do it. I don't know quite how else to explain it. We have a phrase that I taught my daughter that it comes from my family, which is "find a way." Well, in Spanish, but it's equivalent of "find a way." There is always a way to do whatever you want to do. If you waste time thinking of how difficult things are, or the possibilities of failing, you do not spend enough time thinking of the possibilities of succeeding. So I always grinch, even if it's a 5% possibility that something will succeed. I grab into that and I put all my energy into that. And I realized with time that there is nothing wrong with wanting to succeed. There is most of the time the people who don't want you to succeed are people who don't succeed themselves. And also, let's take that word success out of the side. It's just do what you want to do at a given time. You have a big goal and you have micro goals along the way. And every micro goal, if you align it subtly to the big goal, that will take you wherever you want to go. You mentioned the word fortitude. It does not taught me any fortitude to do the other thing. For me, it was actually painful not to do the other thing. So I will choose the happiness. Be responsible with that. Once you realize that that you have that mission in life and that's what you want to do with your life, things kind of fall into place and the decisions are taken for you. You can take always other decisions, but those decisions are taken in a natural way, as long as they align to that goal.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you. Mariana, welcome.
Thank you. And Luis, thank you. That was pretty amazing. You know, the whole experience of it. And I want to ask if you have identified which sound corresponds to what feeling or to what organ.
First of all, I have to tell you that you have an amazing voice. I hear you and wow, it's really deep, it's really beautiful. Thank you. No, and I haven't done it for a particular reason, because I know sound healers and they are really, really, really amazing. And I do a particular kind of teaching and a particular kind of singing, and to study that branch, that side, it takes a lot of life experience or an awareness that I have not yet identified in myself. But I know that it's possible because I have seen it, and I have met people who does it, and there are frequencies attached to each organ. And sorry.
But Luis, having the earphones and having you in my ears, what you vibrate into me was pretty amazing.
Oh, thank you.
You understand what I say? It does work. I could feel the resonance in different parts.
No, I love you all, and I come with love for all of you. I think I prepare myself before the call, and I feel that I want to make a container for all of us, and I know that you guys are doing it for me too. I feel it, so we can all kind of dance together, and I think that's the resonance that transmit to each other.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you. God bless.
Are you complete, Mariana? Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, Mark, welcome.
Thank you, Luis. You're fantastic. I also am a singer, and I have a little bit of similar stories in the sense that my mother also told me I sang before I talk, because she had the radio on when I was a baby, and I would sing to the music that I'd heard on the radio. So, and I kind of remember that. I also am
Wow.
dyslexic, and so learning music has always been a challenge. But I studied music at San Francisco State, and
Wow.
the focus was the voice. The voice. The voice is the most important thing, and that was the focus. But in that training and in the school, I sometimes felt that, well, it didn't embody your whole self. It was, so one point in my life, I figured, well, what happens if I lose my voice and I can't sing? And so I felt like life gave me a journey and said, well, you're not going to sing. You need to experience life and then come back to singing. And so, which I have, and in one of my organizations that I'm a part of, I actually became the grand soloist for several years, which has led me, my singing led me into other leadership. But the singing has been now the foundation, but it's bringing the soul and the life into the organization, I guess you can say. So I don't know if it's a question, but it's just it's an experience I want to share with you and get your feedback.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, and I honor your journey. It's amazing. I know many singers have similar story, and patterns come through, and it is a beautiful thing. When I work with singers, one of the or workshop for professional singers, one of the very first things I say, and most of the time they get it wrong, is that it's very different singing than the business of singing.
Mm.
And most of the time when we go to a conservatoire or to a music school, they teach you the business of singing, or they teach you to sing based on the business of singing. Whereas I was fortunate, and so were you, for what I see, to take care of the soul part of singing and the corporeal part of the singing and the transmission of the message. And that will bring you back to your corporations and to your real message. And instead of focusing on note for money. And I think it's a fantastic story. It's a fantastic story. Thank you.
Thank you. No, and that's very, I think that hit it, because I actually left the school because I felt that I didn't feel the spirit of music.
Yeah.
It was the business of music.
Some of the best singers I know, they come from church, of all churches, evangelist, Catholic, Protestant, of all churches, but they discover something when they are connected to their own spirit and sing, and the voices just float out, and they say, wow, this is amazing. Then they take a singing lesson and say, and they think that there is no congruence to that, so it's amazing, and I'm so happy that you discovered that and that you actually apply it. You honor the profession by doing that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for being here. Francesca.
Hi, Luis.
Hi,
Thank
Francesca.
you so much. Oh my goodness, what an honor it is to meet you. I just wanted to say how grateful I am that I shift everything and I made this commitment to attend today, because when I saw the topic, the power of resonance, I'm like, oh my God, this is my whole life. So I just wanted to say how deeply grateful I am to have met you. I felt you, I can see, even in your words, I can hear you're an embodiment of that resonance, that flow state, like which it was reflected in everything that you shared, and your opening session, that whole process, the meditation. Wow. I've never, I've been practicing for like many years, but I've never thought of, the baby sound. the first, our primal sound from our heart, right? Because I've always think of my primal sound coming out of my solar plexus and the sacral chakra area. And I was just tearing up, and I felt all of a sudden there was like a cry that wanted to emerge. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for everything you've shared. I'm going to be rewatching this video because there's so much wisdom that's packed in there. Like I really want to sit with everything that you shared today. So deep vows of gratitude. Is an honor to hear you, to see you, and to meet you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm blessed. Thank you.
Francine, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Luis. This is
You're welcome.
so many things are resonating with me. I just can't. My question is, as a performer, I'm having difficulty separating my ego and what I do. So like if I'm with if I'm with a really good teacher, they have a way of critiquing me that doesn't make me feel bad. But sometimes people critique and then I get all wounded and like, am I making sense? So I was just wondering how you deal with that.
I'm going to give you a little bit of general advice because otherwise it's too much prodding into personal. With myself, I have a team. I have my vocal teacher, I have my coach, I have my vocal coach, and I have my other coach. I had a pianist, and there are about 5 people that I trust. I trust no one else. I mean, I love them and I honor them, but those 5 people know exactly what I, because it's my creation, want to create with a given piece. So at the moment, my next opera will start in 2 weeks, and I've been practicing for a few months now. And every time I need to work with them, I log into each one of them, and they give me critique, and they know how to give me critique, and I give it back. And what I try to say is that you have to choose who you listen to. This is assuming that you know your craft well, and you don't choose the person who tell you that you're pretty all the time. You choose the one who will align with you and take you up and make you upgrade. And deep inside, you know which one is which. It took me many years to realize that we have our ego and we live in our ego. It's like the choices, the other choice that I said, the other choice never disappears. It's like this big thing that is on the side, but we live with this. We just ignore that. For you, will be you take a decision and try to build something. And if you want to belong to an industry, think what the industry needs from you and modify what you're doing accordingly if you want to modify it. If you want to innovate, surround yourself with people who are aligning the same thing and start innovating. And suddenly the industry will come to you, the right industry.
Wow.
Because there are 2 kinds of hurts. The hurt that, oh my God, I did so much work and now I have to do this other work. And there is the other hurt that I really feel it on my gut and they are attacking that. That one is the one that you need to hear. Because if you feel something on your gut, you go with that. You feel it. But if you're shying away of work because they're criticizing what you did and there is a reason for that not to be applied within certain industry, then you get your coach with you to modify it. So you ask for help, but select the people that you ask for help. That will be the message. That will be the advice.
Okay. Thank you.
And I'm sure you will do very well. You have the shiny thing around you.
Oh, so
Thank
beautiful.
you so much.
I'm blessed. Thank you.
Thank you, Francine. Renee, welcome.
Oh, hello.
Hello, René.
Luis, muchísimo gusto. Encantado de poder conversar contigo.
De Monterrey, somos vecinos. Yeah. Let's talk English. Sorry.
Yeah, let's speak English. We can understand. We are
Yeah.
neighbors here in the country. So, Luis, I'm come from a background for being a former musician, performer in the rock industry many years ago in Mexico. Uh, I got kicked out from the conservatory in Mexico for being me. Then I got kicked out from the Claustro de Sor Juana when I was trying to study sound engineering. And it's kind of like a hidden passion in me. I want to know exactly how do you connect not only your voice but the message and the emotions. I've been working lately and I just rediscovered the power of my voice that I can really get to touch people when I performing guided meditations, live and recorded already. But when I'm speaking in public, I not only get the feeling, but I notice that the message get lost and that my emotions get involved. And sometimes I make people feel just wonderful as I wish them to feel. And when I want them to feel something strong within them, like connection real deep within the inner child or something like that, I can notice because I can see them crying. And it's not the purpose of me from making them cry all the time, but create deep emotions. How can you help me or suggest me something that I can go study through the sound that I create with my voice? Because I use my tricks of sound engineering to create a quadraphonic bubble to get them deep involved into the sound and binaural beats and stuff like that that will help me to track them into the right state of mind and the right state of emotions. But the message often get lost. I don't know even how to translate it. When you have this mixture of emotions, having a small audience of between 60 and 80 people being there with you, you can some of them laughing, some of them crying, and the thing is how you can keep that magic that you're creating already, and just not pursue it, but just to push it out without being totally drained out of my own prana, of my own energy, because that happened to me a lot. That
Yeah.
I give so much and I pick up so many stuff from out there that I end up uh, like feeling like almost fading out.
I know. Well, it happens. It happens. The draining, it happens. The the advice, the best advice I can tell you is to clarify the message that you're gonna give. Not the technique, because it is obvious to me that your technique is amazing and you have all your sound system, which you can advise me because mine. Okay, you have all the sound system. You know how to sing. You know how to speak. You know what to say. So the message, how can you help the other people? How your best self can help the best selves of other people? So when you're talking to what I do, or when you're talking to an audience, you're not talking directly to them. You're talking to an entity, which is the audience. And you have to have a clear message to deliver. Even if the clear message is just make them feel good, make them feel happy, if you have that clear message, you will not get exhausted because you will be retrofeeding yourself with that. So if you have a meditation that you want to record to give, just be very clear what the meditation is about and what is the goal for the meditation, and align all the exercises towards that goal. If you want to teach something, make a clear sketch what you want to teach, feel the sketch, and then deliver it and say it. The more you do it, the more accustomed you will say it. The best advice, and it's an advice that it was given to me when I start giving conferences and when I start talking, is not to divert too much, and know when you're diverting to bring it back. Because once you divert it, like going into a weak tangent that has no much energy, and that's when you lose all the concentration. Just keep it there, keep it there. For me, for example, is resonance and breathing, and that's what I project, and that's what my conferences are. I have many branches that I can talk over a glass of wine. But when it's a conference or something specific, make a sketch the same way that you make a dynamic sketch of your music and how you're going to say it. And you will see that everything else aligns, your body, the way that you produce your voice, the amount of voice you give, the amount of breath you take, the timing of it, everything falls into place once the message is clear.
Wow, awesome. Thank you. Thanks so much. Because yes,
Beautiful.
yeah, absolutely. It's definitely
Pleasure.
much easier to record it and just produce it later than having performing on live, because there are so much things outside, right? That's why I use quadraphonic, because I want them to be inside, and so I will be able to do not rise my voice too much, so I can speak real soft and make that feeling go through. But the thing of the energy, I mean, it's seriously, I felt sometimes that I really falling down to the ground. And something funny that happened to me, I was once I grabbed the microphone because I was feeling so weak, and I felt this energy, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is feeling so good. No, wait a moment, this is not feeling so good. I'm getting electrified through the microphone. I was furboot on the floor, and there was electric feeding, and my body was the condenser receiving all that electricity, and I felt like, oh my gosh! I at the beginning I thought it was magic. It was like this is being so amazing. But no, I was getting electrified at the moment, and it was so funny when it happened. But
Thank you, Renee. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. I just want to gently just remind everyone we have 6 minutes left of the call, and I would love to give the space to any. Yes, we've been on for almost 2 hours. I would love to give the space to anyone else who would like to dialogue with Luis and Renee. I just want to thank you and hope you're complete. Are you complete for now? Just gracious. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. So anyone else would like to dialogue with Luis or perhaps ask a question? Please let. Oh, Manu, welcome.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Luis. Thank you, Christina and Vivienne. This conversation is amazing. I am very grateful and happy that I chose to be here. Luis, I have a question. I wonder if when you went through all of these stories that you shared, if you had any kind of, spiritual training or something that allowed you to just surrender yourself to the divine and just make the right choices by just surrendering.
Yeah, no. No, it's very interesting because I have read a lot. I have spoken to many gurus, but I have always followed my instinct, and I always opt for the best self, even when it's not. I realized earlier on from early in my story that I could do. I could be very catastrophic if I want to. That I could reverse that and really go down the rabbit hole and go very down or go up. That is an awareness that I have of myself, that I can make things happen for very good or for very bad, and I always opt for the good one without being moralistic. I just think that it's easier to do the right thing than not. And then when I read about spiritual teachings, I see that somehow everything aligns to each other, to what I do. This living on the moment. There are great studies about that, and to me, it's something that is just so clear. And I see it with many people when we're having this conversation now. It just, I feel so much peace, and I have no other thought. I have other thoughts, but I choose to ignore them. I just want to keep sharing this moment, and I know that this aligns with something else and something else that I'm doing. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yes, because I relate to this so many years ago when I was just finishing my career. I chose to leave my career and act, or I mean, do something about environmental depletion. I had so many critiques because of my parents, you know, etc., that I didn't have that career. I am a computer engineer, and I didn't care. I just surrendered to that. And so many things happened that years later, I learned about the secret. And years later, I do meditation, and I understand so many things that happened way back, that when I didn't have any spiritual training, that anyhow happened because I surrendered to the moment and to the mission, to the cause. And
that's
it
beautiful.
was so magical. And I know that it works. So thank you, Luis.
Yeah, no, and that's it. You know, and that's a message for everyone. We all know that these things happen. It's lovely to read about them. It's lovely to hear about them, but deep inside we know. And sometimes when we have, I do believe in destiny, on some sort of destiny that is there patiently waiting for us. That even if we say, "Oh God, I cannot do this, I do it mañana," then the next day it's going to be exactly the same situation that you have to calm down, and sometimes it repeats the same situation 4 or 5 times until you decide until you do that route, and then say, everything is easy, and go that way. So bravo.
Okay, thank you, Manu. Thank you for joining us. Everyone, if it's okay, we request permission. We're gonna run over maybe a couple of minutes, and I believe Vanita wanted to ask a question, and then Luis and I will close the call. So Vanita, are you with us?
Yes.
Trying to find you here. Let's see. There you are. Okay. Awesome. Welcome.
Vanita, hello.
Hello. Thank you so much, Louis. It has been an amazing call. So much of, I experienced so much of resonance, both in the exercises and what you said, and a lot to learn from your experiences of life and how you trusted yourself, the universe, and then the universe opened up for you.
Thank you.
So that's very inspiring. And one of the things the question that's coming up for me is, you know, many times we see life bringing these gifts to us, and we see that this universe has provided us a learning that we can share with the world. And very often, it's my personal experience, as well as I see this experience with people I work with, that very often it's more than a fear of failure. It's a fear of success that stops us from moving forward, and the fear of being seen. So I would like to receive some, wisdom from you on these two things.
Well, again, it comes down to the same point: fear of being seen, fear of failure, fear of success, imposter syndrome. All comes down to a choice, the choice that you have in front of you. It's easier to talk in examples. If you are writing a book, for example, if you're writing a book,
which I am.
Okay, excellent. So you have the theme of your book, what you're writing, and this is just talking about the creation. You have the theme, then you decide the chapters, and then you start working on the first chapter. You have every title, you have everything, and then you say, oh, I have a mental block, so I will do it next week, and the next week I will do it in 3 weeks. And what happens is in 3 weeks you will feel exactly the same. It's not all those fears. Is the worst of all is the lack of activity. You just, with one activity that you do, our brain cannot compute 2 things at the same time. This multitasking thing, in my experience, is non-existent. When you focus yourself into one thing, right or wrong, you are doing it. And if you do that chapter in one day, just doing it and feeling it and putting it, then you may not like it, but at least you progress a little bit. There is a big saying in singing, in breathing also, there is the muscles revert to what they know best. So if you write a chapter, right or wrong, and you write it, the next day you will sit down and write another one. And you will remember the chapter that you do before, and you will improve or correct or modify something about the previous chapter. And sooner or later, you get into a dynamic that you are creating that. The same applies once you have your manuscript and then you want to sell it, or then you want to take it to a publicist. You start taking into consideration what the publicist will need from you to publicize that. So you are at the service of that business, of that corporation, or of that movement, and then you modify or not. If you decide not to modify, you will find another one. But then in the exercise of trying to find out how to get it publicized, then you get another momentum going. And then you have 2 momentums going, both of them on that. And then after that, you get it publicized and they invite you to speak. And then you start speaking little by little about it and create another momentum about that. And that momentum carries you forth. And within all that, fear of failure, fear of success, fear does not exist, because the same energy or momentum carry you. But it starts with a very little decision of sitting down and breaking. Is this word that always escapes me in English? Inactivity. It means inactivity, breaking the inactivity. Just getting in and doing it. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, thank you so much, because it also resonates with my experience that, and sometimes we experience that, and when we forget, and it really is reinforcing that is the point to really focus on and to be with that, basically.
Yeah, and not to take very seriously. Just with a smile on your face, you do it, and the next day you say, oh, I forgot because I had too much lunch and I needed to sleep. The following day, you go back and study little by little, and your body will call you to do it, instead of your brain saying you need to do it and you need to suffer because you haven't done it. No, little by little, happiness, smile.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Vanita. Thank you. Luis, the time has come where we are going to say until next time, because it's definitely not goodbye. And I just want to say how honored Vivienne and I are that you were here to give your amazing journey and story to our community. And any closing words at all from you?
Well, first of all, thank you everyone for coming. It was a great, great pleasure. It's make my day, make my week, my month. You're an amazing community. I love Mindvalley and what it represents, and all of you, because you are talking about momentum. You're trying and doing it, and it's so beautiful to feel that energy and to feel all that happening. I love you all. And I'm very, very grateful for giving me the space to talk to you.
So beautiful. Vivienne, take it away.
Thank you, Louis, and thank you, dear Mindvalley friends and family. It is always such a beautiful pleasure to spend time with you, to share your energy, And a very special thank you to my dear friend Christina for her effort, her work, and just connecting us with the most amazing people that we can learn and grow from. So Louis, you've blessed us. Your energy, your love is what shines above your wisdom, which is also there and is also deep and beautiful. So thank you for this gift to the Mindvalley community, and thank you, Christina.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Louise, Vivienne. Vivienne is the most amazing partner and co-host with myself. And Louise, I can't express how blessed we feel and how honored we feel that you're here. And this call is going to be reaching the community. And we are just so thrilled that you were here with us today. And until next time, mwah.
Thank you.
We love you all.
Thank you.
Bye for now, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye for now. Bye-bye.